Hey everybody, and welcome to the weekly scopes from the 13th of April until the 19th of April 2025. Hi everybody, and welcome to this week's weekly scopes. If you've heard this before, you can skip, but this is just the intro on how I formulate these astrology weekly readings. I use astrology and my intuition to give you advice how you can practically use the knowledge of the stars and the planets and apply them to your life. So my weekly scopes are all based on GMT time and on Vedic Constellational Astrology. So now I'm just going to explain what Vedic Constellational Astrology is and how it differs from Western astrology. So the precession of the equinox is sort of like something that happens in astronomy and astrology, where the Earth's axis undergoes a slow circular motion over 26,000 years, and basically this means that this motion causes a shift in the position of the equinoxes and also the calculation Vedic and Western astrologies use. So around 2,000 years ago, the tropical and sidereal Vedic astrology signs of astrology were aligned in the same position. So if the sun was in Scorpio in Vedic astrology, it was also in the constellation of Scorpio in Western astrology. But because of the precession of the equinoxes, this has caused a gradual westward sort of like drift of the tropical Western signs. So basically these signs and the Western signs shift 1 degree with every 72 years. So as a result of this ongoing shift, when Western astrology says the sun is in the constellation of Pisces, it's typically in the constellation of Aquarius. Still, this is because the degree, orb and the date for Western and Vedic astrology are 24 degrees 24 days apart. So in Western astrology, the sun enters the constellation of Pisces around the 19th of February each year, but actually the sun doesn't arrive into the constellation of Pisces until the 13th to the 15th of March each year, and Vedic astrology takes this into account because it's based on the fixed star positions, and Vedic astrologers use sidereal calculations. So as a result, Vedic astrology takes into account the actual positions of the constellations in the sky at any given time, and also considers the precession of the equinox, adjusting for the shift in the position of the equinoxes over time. But in terms of Western astrology follows the tropical zodiac, which is based on the seasons rather than fixed star positions. Western astrologers also do not directly account for the precession of the equinox in their calculations as well, so this results in slightly different calculations and interpretations that are given whether we're using Western astrology or Vedic astrology. So yeah, as I said, Western astrology uses specific dates, so every year, regardless of where the sun actually is at the sky, the sun moves into Pisces around the 19th of February. So yeah, this discrepancy, this misalignment between the tropical zodiac and the actual positions of the constellations has led to a discrepancy between Vedic astrology and Western astrology. So I consider the actual where the sun and the moon are and where Mars and Venus are at any given time, and this is how I formulate these sort of like weekly scopes. So yeah, thanks for listening to this, and let's dive into this week's weekly scope. Okay, so now I'm just going to explain what parallels and contra parallels are in astrology, because I use them in my chart interpretation. So declination in astrology is the measure of how far a celestial body is, such as the sun, whether it's either north or south of the celestial equator. And the celestial equator is an imaginary line in the sky above the Earth's equator, which us astrologers use in our interpretation. So parallels happen when two planets are on the same declination. Either both planets are on the north side side, or either both planets are on the south side, and this alignment increases the influence of the involved planets. So it's similar to a conjunction aspect, as it amplifies their energy, making the effects of the planets more pronounced. Contraparallels, on the other hand, happen when two planets are on the same declination, but one is in the north and one is in the south. So this alignment creates tension, which is similar to an opposition aspect, and it can lead to conflict, challenges and inner struggles between the energies of the planets involved. So contraparallels highlight areas of friction or contrast in our lives, urging us to find balance between the opposing forces at play. When transiting parallels and contraparallels happen, they can sort of trigger significant events, shifting consciousness and periods of intense growth and transformation. So I look at these aspects closely during chart analysis to understand how planetary energies interact and influence each other during a specific time frame, to pinpoint key periods for personal development, relationship dynamics or career shifts, and other shifts like karmic shifts and stuff like that. Because I just find using contraparallels and parallels gives me more depth in interpretation, so I use them. So contraparallels and parallels in astrology serve as markers for potential challenges or breakthroughs, guiding us towards more self-awareness, love, acceptance, understanding, forgiveness for ourselves and others, and shifts in consciousness and growth. So overall, just a shift in our mindset if we allow for it. So parallels and contraparallels just kind of provide valuable insights into the complexities and nuances of the astrological interactions between planetary movements. So yeah, that's the end of what contraparallels and parallels are. So this week, the first aspect influencing us is Mercury making a contraparallel to Venus. This entered on the 7th of April, is exact on the 14th of April, and also the 18th of April, and leaves us on the 26th of April. And Mercury is in Pisces and Venus is in Pisces. The Sun makes a contraparallel to Chiron. This entered on the 8th of April, is exact on the 14th of April, and leaves us on the 20th of April. Mars makes a contraparallel to Pluto. This entered on the 22nd of March, is exact on the 14th of April, and leaves us on the 1st of May. Jupiter makes a contraparallel to Pluto, and this entered on the 29th of June 2024, is exact on the 18th of April 2025, and also exact again on the 11th of July 2025, and leaves on the 3rd of October. And Jupiter's in Taurus and Pluto's in Capricorn. Venus also makes a contraparallel to the Moon's North Node. This entered on the 9th of April and is exact on the 18th of April and also the 5th of May, and leaves us on the 18th of May. And Venus is in Pisces and the North Node's in Pisces. And Mercury makes a parallel to the Moon's North Node, and this entered on the 1st of April, is exact on the 6th of April and the 18th of April, and leaves us on the 25th of April. And Mercury is in Pisces, and so is the Moon's North Node. So yes, we've got a lot going on this week, haven't we? So, Mercury's contraparallel to Venus allows us to be empathetic and intuitive, increases our communication, and we can just be more romantic as well, and it allows us to speak our mind more clearly and express our desires and what we want with more tenderness and calm and understanding, and it allows us to tap into our imagination. So it's a great time to deepen our emotional bonds, but we just need to watch out for misunderstandings or idealizing others, and our judgment can be clouded, so we just need to watch out for that as well. We may struggle with illusions regarding our love and relationships, so it's important to maintain clarity while working through and figuring out our emotional currents. This transit can make it easier for self-reflection about our values in relationships and what truly brings us joy. We may find ourselves drawn to looking into our past experiences and how they impact our current emotional world, and with a view to changing that, especially if they negatively affect us. Spiritually encourages a deeper connection with our inner self and emphasizes the importance of aligning our thoughts and emotions. Esoterically, it allows us to manifest our desires through positive affirmations and visualizations. This is a time to embrace yourself with vulnerability and openness, allowing the energy of love and self-awareness and forgiveness and creativity to flow freely through you, and this can help you develop a richer understanding of your emotional needs and goals. The sun's parallel to Chiron supports us with this healing of our sense of self and personal wounds. It can motivate us to confront and understand our deep-seated issues, our unresolved psychological, emotional and spiritual trauma. It gives us more passion, and it allows us with our self-discovery, and it really inspires us to address these past wounds. But negatively, we can overact with this energy, act impulsively when faced with emotional triggers such as tension between the introspectiveness of self-reflection that Pisces wants us to do and the assertiveness that Aries wants us to tap into. So we just have to be kind of mindful of projecting our pain onto others or avoiding our pain, as this can put a strain on our relationships if not approached with care. Psychologically, it wants us to dig to the roots of our personal identity and problems, and it just gives us the chance to recognize and integrate the lessons learned from our wounds, promoting personal growth and resilience. Spiritually, it reminds us that healing is a journey that often embraces vibing with the darker aspects of ourselves. So this energy is good for inner work, shadow work, getting real about our strengths and weaknesses, getting real about our shadow, about our not so good habits, and not in the view to judge ourselves, but to align our actions with our higher self and our words as well. And it wants us to develop a deeper connection to our intuition and spiritual purpose, encouraging us to heal ourselves and serve as a beacon of hope for others working through and figuring out similar challenges. Mars is contra-parallel with Pluto. It brings a powerful clash of energies between our assertiveness and our deeper emotional drives, and positively it can ignite our ambition and determination, and it pushes us to tackle challenges with renewed passion and motivation. And Mars's placement in Cancer allows us to be protective and nurturing and to safeguard our emotional well-being and that of others. The intensity of Pluto may lead to power struggles or obsessive tendencies, especially when feelings of insecurity and vulnerable come up. We can all just be a bit too argumentative with this vibe, so it's essential to remain conscious of where we direct our energy and our aggression right now, as impulsive actions can result in conflict and a sense of overwhelmment, and we've got a lot of energy doing that this week, so we just have to try and chill out, walk away from conflict, give grace and understanding. We can find ourselves, really at odds with those empowering ourselves, So the best use of this energy is to confront our deeply buried fears, and dig beneath the surface and, manage this intensity without, giving in to destructive patterns. Spiritually, it signifies rebirth, asking us to release old habits and align with a more authentic version of ourselves. Esoterically, this energy wants us to integrate our inner warrior with our emotional depth, nurturing growth in both our personal power and vulnerability. And by working through and figuring out this transit with awareness, you can use its energies for self-empowerment and deeper emotional connection. Jupiter's contra-parallel to Pluto again allows us to seize opportunities for wealth and influence right now, and to work on upgrading our professional skills and spiritual and personal development as well, because Jupiter in Taurus grounds us this week and it inspires us to build lasting foundations and plans, work on our long-term daily habits and build habits that help us reach our goals, so we can work with that. But again, Pluto again brings power struggles this week, so we just need to really watch out for that, and we can encounter situations where our moral values are tested right now, and this can add to the conflicts between our goals and deeper motivations, just conflicts in the workplace and in our relationships and social situations this week. So we just have to remain vigilant against overreaching or becoming overly ambitious or aggressive or argumentative, and watch out for others doing that with us and walk away. It's best to walk away, reduce the conflict, do not lose your integrity this week, your sense of self, your sense of values. It allows us to examine and understand our motivations and think about where our desires and fears meet, It motivates us to think about what we really want and what abundance means to us, what does physical, emotional, spiritual, psychological abundance and well-being means to you, and work towards that. Write things down, be strategic. Spiritually, it allows us to experience awakenings, as we're more motivated to look into deeper truths about existence and align our actions with our higher self as well. Esoterically, it encourages us to dig into the mysteries of power and transformation, inviting us to use our inner strength responsibly, and it just allows us to be more mindful and aware of the potential pitfalls of, being aggressive. Venus's contra-parallel to the moon's north node again allows us to bring love in our relationships and self-love into our lives, and to look in both the beauty and depth of our emotional experiences. It gives us the capacity this week for compassion and creativity, encouraging us to nurture our connections and manifest our dreams, and it just allows us to deepen our relationships or attract significant partnerships in our life. In terms of the Piscean influence, it can bring challenges such as emotional confusion or idealistic fantasies that may not align with reality. We may find ourselves working through and figuring out complex, challenging feelings, and this can lead to misunderstandings and add to the disillusionment this week in our personal and romantic situations. So we just have to reflect on what truly fulfills us this week, what makes us happy in terms of our self-love and relationship love. It supports us with releasing outdated patterns and being more authentic as well. Spiritually, it asks us to transcend, go beyond our ego-driven desires in favour of a more collective and universal love. Esoterically, it highlights the themes of surrender and intuition, asking us to trust our instincts, and this can lead to some seriously intense next level deep realizations about our life path and what we need to do to get there. It supports us with being creative and engaging in spiritual practices and acts of compassion for ourselves and others, and just align with the higher vibrational energies that are present this week, and we've got a lot of them, right? Mercury's parallel to the moon's north node allows us to work towards our destiny and see the interconnectedness of our thoughts and life paths and our thoughts and actions. It supports us with expressing ourselves creatively and spiritually. Our insights can be sharper, we can have more focus and discipline. It supports us with creative writing, journaling, and any form of creative and artistic expressions that allows the inner workings of our mind to flow and come to the surface. But negatively, we can misinterpret messages from our guidance, higher self and conversations, and this can result in self-doubt. We need to try and tell the difference between adrenaline, intuition and anxiety-driven thoughts, which can be tricky when you suffer with stress, depression, anxiety. I've been there, but it just wants us to gain that delicate balance in communication with ourselves and others. It supports us with looking into the depths of our subconscious and to reflect on how your thoughts shape your destiny and daily behaviour. It's a fertile energy that allows us to align our mental processes with our life purpose, so it allows us to bring more positive thoughts into our mind. And remember, we don't need to get rid of all the negative, we just have to be able to return to centre, and obviously that takes practice. So it just allows us to stay grounded in reality this week, these energies, but it can also bring confusion and burnout. So we have to engage in meditation and mindfulness, and this can enhance our ability to navigate this week effectively, helping us to bridge our inner world with tangible goals, goals we can touch, so we can really look at our schedules and see what needs to be changed and do it. Now I'm just going to talk about the daily astrology. So on the 13th of April, there's a full moon, when the moon is actually in Cancer at 1:22. Venus goes direct out of retrograde at 2:03 a.m. The moon void, of course, starts at 11:01 a.m. Then the moon enters Libra just after the full moon at 1:22. The moon enters Libra at 3:09 a.m. and then the sun enters Aries at 10:52 p.m. tonight. So I've done a separate audio on the full moon, so check out the playlist if you want to listen to that. But as always, the full moon is about releasing, and it's releasing the things that we no longer want to hold on to, and just taking stock and thinking about what we want to do moving forward. Venus direct, although I've done a separate audio about this, allows us to we may feel more ready to engage in romantic plans with renewed clarity and optimism, and just be more out there, because our energy could have been more introverted. The sun in Aries allows us to sort of have the courage and take the initiative to start new things with enthusiasm, and be our most authentic and bold selves. It increases our personal confidence, and we can just have more self-belief in ourselves, and this can lead us to starting new things or restarting projects as well. It allows our creativity to flow, and this is really good for this week, and we can just want to take leads, because this Aries energy can just make us want to be more courageous and willing to take risks and ready to go after our dreams with unprecedented determination like never before. And that's good. It's working with the energies of this week that wants us to try new things, right? It can also awaken our entrepreneurial spirit. We can start businesses or think about doing it, at least get into the planning stages of it, commit to personal development goals. But negatively, we can make rash, impulsive decisions. They can make us have unnecessary conflicts with ourselves and others, as this can make us think before we think through the consequences. So we just need to watch out for that. Tempers can run hot, and patience can wear thin, and we can be a bit more emotionally volatile, So the best use of this energy is to set clear intentions and balance enthusiasm with thoughtful planning, channel our energy strategically, and release the excess energy by being creative, exercising, making love, by being open to new opportunities while maintaining self-awareness. The moon moving into Libra also allows us to find balance in our relationships and align with who we truly are with clearly defined intentions. So but negatively can add to the people pleasing of this week and ignoring our need to know, but it balances out the power struggles that the Pluto energy is bringing this week as well. On the 14th of April, the moon enters via combustion, which just means it's between the 15th degree of Libra and the 15th degree Scorpio. The sun makes a sextile to Venus at 9:52. Mercury's contra-parallel to Venus is exact at 12:57 p.m. The Sun's parallel to Chiron is exact at 7:19 p.m. and Mars' contra-parallel to Pluto happens at 10:11 p.m. So the sunset star to Venus happens when the Sun's in Aries and Venus is in Pisces. So the Moon in Via Combustor, as I said, can just make us more aware of our feelings more intense. So we have to make sure we stay grounded, because this can really make us really intensely emotional, sensitive. But if we have a willingness to confront any inner turmoil, chaos, we can, have significant breakthroughs and in our personal growth, and this is really good. The Sun's semi-set star to Venus allows us to reconnect with our loved ones and indulge in artistic plans, and it brings a harmony between the side of us that wants to, reach our goals and the side of us that wants to be more loving to ourselves and others. It can improve our sense of well-being as well, and we just want to do the things, and it helps us to do the things that bring us happiness and pleasure as well. On the 15th of April, Sun makes a semi-set star to Uranus, Mars parallel to Jupiter is at 9:52, and the Moon enters Scorpio at 3:57 p.m. So the Sun is in Aries and Uranus is in Taurus, and the set star between the Sun and Uranus can increase our sense of newness, because it brings innovative energy and a desire for personal freedom. We may want to emphasize our individuality more, encourages us to break free from routine and to look into new ideas or unconventional paths. We may feel inspired to take calculated risks that lead to personal growth and tap into our innate creativity. It can enrich our sense of self, but negatively it can motivate and add to the impulsive decisions we can make this week, because we can be restless and impatient, right? And we can find it hard to tell the difference between the right decisions and the wrong, the impulsive decisions as well. And it just allows us to strive for balance by allowing ourselves the freedom to experiment with ourselves, but we also have to, think about the consequences of our words and actions as well. So, the best use of this energy is to do things that stimulate your mind, such as learning a new language, a skill, visiting new environments. The Moon in Scorpio adds to the intensity of this week. It turns our feelings up, making them more complex and deeply felt. Although emotions can run deep when the Moon's in Scorpio for the next few days, our intuition can become a powerful guide, and we've got a lot of Pisces energy allowing us to be more intuitive this week as well. It increases our ability to penetrate the core of any issue, uncovering hidden truths and creating a deeper understanding of ourselves and others. In terms of our relationships, we can just feel more passionate and want more meaningful experiences in them. So good for date nights as well. It boosts our emotional resilience, helping us navigate feelings and come out stronger. But negatively, because of all of this emotional turmoil, chaos, we can overthink, and it can be overwhelming, and it can lead to feelings of jealousy, mood swings and excessive thinking. Trust issues can come up, because we may just be suspicious of other people, thinking that they have hidden motives and they could do, or we can just feel paranoid about other people's intentions, or they can feel this way about us. And it also adds to the power struggles in relationships that I talked about earlier, as we can battle with each other for control and dominance, and we can hold on to old grudges and past hurts and be unforgiving as well, which can just weigh us down emotionally. So the best use is, this week, letting go, forgiveness, especially of ourselves. Use this energy to release deep-seated wounds and grudges and unforgiveness through journaling, therapy, or introspective self-reflective practices. Trust our intuition for decision-making, especially in the matters of trust and loyalty. Engage in meaningful conversations to deepen connections and explore the unspoken dynamics in relationships. However, together, avoid getting stuck in negative patterns of thinking or behaviour. So release is the theme of today, right? Releasing, thinking, building a resilience, and thinking of the ways if you dominate others, why do you do this? If you allow others to dominate you and you don't like it, why do you do that? On the 16th of April, the Sun makes a sextile to Saturn, the Sun makes a semi-sextile to the Moon's North Node, and the Moon leaves fire combustion. So the Sun is in Aries and Saturn's in Pisces, and the Sun's in Aries and the Moon's North Node is in Pisces when the Sun makes a semi-sextile to the Moon's North Node. So it allows us, when the Sun makes a semi-sextile to Saturn, to mix enthusiasm with being practical, to set realistic goals and use our ambitions effectively, our energy, you know. It allows us to be more disciplined, structure and routine into our life and focus on our goals, and we may find ourselves reflecting on our responsibilities and how they align with our long-term objectives as well. So this is a good time to firm up our plans, ensuring that they're both visionary and achievable. Channeling this energy can enhance our productivity and bring a sense of accomplishment as well. And the Sun semi-sextile to the Moon's North Node just allows us to work with our higher goals this week and find a balance between our personal desires and a more open life path as well. So it's a good energy to use to make decisions reflecting our true self, and that's what this week is about, getting down to the core of what we want. On the 17th of April, the Moon enters its disseminating moon phase at 4:24 a.m. Mercury makes a conjunction to Neptune at 5:11 a.m. Jupiter makes a sextile quadrant to Pluto at 9:16 a.m. and the moon void of course starts at 5:12 p.m. So the disseminating moon invites us to share our thoughts and supports us to share our insights with others as well and work with others, and it brings a sense of community. So it can just help us resolve any conflict that may have come up this week. It allows us and wants us to express gratitude for the simple things in our life and to build more optimism and to be more open to travel and cultural exchanges. Mercury's conjunction to Neptune supports us with our creative thinking and being able to think outside of the box, so good for imaginative problem solving and to use creativity and spirituality to help us get to the bottom of our feelings and have deep conversations that stimulate our mind as well. Jupiter's sextile quadrant to Pluto adds to the power struggles of this week, but it wants us to confront any underlying desires and fears, which is also, one of the main themes of this week. What is holding you back from being your most authentic self? And it just supports us with having a deeper sense of purpose. On the 18th of April, the moon enters Sagittarius at 3:51 a.m. Jupiter makes a contra to Pluto at 11:24. I talked about this earlier. The moon enters void of course at 6:51 tonight. Venus's contra to the moon's north node is exact at 8:42. Mercury's power to the moon's north node is exact at 9:04 p.m. and Mercury's contra to Venus is exact at 9:31 p.m. So the moon in Sagittarius allows us to be more optimistic and supports us to be open to adventure and see the bigger picture, but we have to watch out for missing the smaller details. It encourages us to look for new knowledge and experiences and adds enthusiasm to our day. So yeah, that's the best use. This is the good of this energy, So if we balance the brave and fearless drive of the Sagittarius moon, and by doing this we can make great strides, progress in our plans, but remember to manage any feelings of pressure that come up as well, and being too reckless and impulsive, because it also adds to that energy as well, and there's a lot of energies making us impulsive this week, right? On the 19th of April, Mars makes a trine to Neptune, and Mars is in Cancer and Neptune's in Pisces. So Mars' trine to Neptune increases our creativity and inspiration, so it's a good energy to close down the week. It supports us with going after our passions and being more intuitive and being more active in our imagination, and it increases our empathy and the need to assist ourselves and others. So it's a great energy once again for teamwork in projects or artistic plans, but we just need to watch out for the escapism that Neptune energy always brings, like I said earlier. And it's essential to stay anchored in reality to avoid being swept away by idealistic visions, and by balancing these energies we can have more better outcomes in our discussions and negotiations as well, and just feel a deeper connection to our inner self and the world around us, right? So yeah, that's the end of the weekly scopes from the 13th of April to the 19th of April. Take care and see you next week.